year 2000, and Dr. Koh has been in the technology world for the past 30 years. So I believe today's presentation will give a lot of perspective to the audience. And also, I would like to say Gorilla Technologies, machine learning and deep learning video analytics can help the enterprise to identify, analyze, and extract information from digital content and to facilitate a lot of business decision making. So now, let's waste no time and let me welcome Dr. Koh on stage. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, good morning everyone. So the topics I'm going to talk about is the AI. AI is kind of a buzzword for the last couple of years already. But one thing you probably are kind of suspicious why the AI is still not on the ground, not on the field, not very popular, not being used for a lot of the scenario or business case. And then I will cut it like that line. And any time before today, we're talking about AI, it's pretty much on the development world, on the development market. Because everybody kind of used to understand it using GPU, NVIDIA, big computer, high performance computing, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, and when we looked into, back 10 years ago, when we look into the GPU card, that started from the gaming. And then when you wanted to push into the video, yeah, but it got to become some constraint there. But at the same time, and then if you look into the real world, what's happened today in the last 10 years, all the camera converted into digital, right? So from 2010, the analog TV, analog camera converted into SD. Then it started to SD, HD, 2K, 4K, now we're looking into someone using 8K. But back 20 years ago, the broadcast media has long ago adopted this kind of technology. That time we're using SD started from 2002. And then so the entire video surveillance camera or industry is kind of 10 years behind the broadcast professional. So that's where our growth is coming in. So, where I should go? Okay. So if I look into what we've been doing, this is how we looked into the technology start from 2000. You can look into when we started 2000, we already used very, very early stage machine learning using facial recognition on broadcast media, stuff like that. But that time it doesn't have any problem because the camera capability or resolution or the B-rate of the video camera has already reached very, very high quality. But at the same time, in the broadcast arena, then the computing is pretty much on the data center, on their on-premises solution, on the big computer. So it doesn't have any problem on the computing. But as the time goes, the solution or the technology on the video camera getting really fast, looking into the 8K. And then what is it go to the commodity or go to the common world? Say everybody is using the camera. If you look into everywhere, any camera, it's easily go to 1080p, right? 1080p. 1080p already HD, and then even some of it can reach 2K, which means every pixel in the video has a lot of information. And then that information is very, very different from broadcast because in the broadcast, you push the cameraman, push the camera, focus on the actor. But on the camera outside, the camera is fixed. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the next second. Nobody knows who's going to walk in, what vehicle going to drive in, or any object going to move in. So because it's a fixed camera, moving object, so the scenario is completely different, right? But the fact is, what you see is what the camera sees. But what you see, you can understand. I saw 20 people in this room. I probably remember everybody's face, gender, age, what they're wearing, where they're sitting. But the camera cannot. Camera only take the video. But can we extract that information out of the camera and make use of that information? And that is not available before in the past 40 years when the camera started, even when the CPU started, right? So why is that? So that drives my company very, very suspicious to understand what happened to the CPU world. why do we have to use the GPU? Then we start looking into the industry. Then we look into the age. Then we see, Jesus, there are billions CPU out there. And why nobody take that CPU as a computing power to do the AI and then generate the data we wanted and using existing infrastructure to generate what's inside. And then why do we have to push all the video back to the cloud, to the big computer, to the big high-performance computer? And then why do we have to generate a new infrastructure for entire computing such that the customer or the end user can benefit from understanding what's inside? So that triggers my team 10 years ago start looking into what happened, why it's not working. And then we look into the entire thing, we see more visible. We see the resolution, the bit rate growing really fast, but the CPU performance remained flat. Intel CPU remained generation 6 until 1 or 2 years ago. Why Intel all of a sudden pushed generation 8 last year? So that's a story. Right? So that's what I'm sharing here, and then that's what I'm talking to everyone now in CES, in MWC, in everywhere. Hey, this is not science fiction. This is real. And then we've already done it, and then we bring this stuff to the age and then to the life. So this is pretty much today's topic. So on the previous session, I saw McKinsey give some analyst report. This actually coming from McKinsey in 2016 on December. So if you look into this article, he mentioned very, very interesting. It says, if the video analytics stuff is not applied to the IoT world, then the IoT application is not very, very useful, not very, very valuable. That's because, very simple. If you look into the IoT world, right? IoT has two kind of different things. One, you treat IoT as a sensor. Second, you treat IoT as a simple devices, like your cell phone, like your PC. What is the sensor? Sensor can be temperature sensor, pressure sensor, humidity sensor. Even we look into today global warming. What do you want to look into? There's a lot of sensors out there. But the sensor has been identified at the beginning when it was designed. He has spatial purpose, and it only doing that spatial purpose. So the IoT devices is already known, but the difference is it's just collecting tons of the data into the internet and then try to have a big platform correlated to business analysis. But what if we turn every single lens, every single camera as a multi-sensor dynamic sensor? What I mean by multi-sensor, what I mean by dynamic sensor? Dynamics is a function, is an equation in terms of the time. What is the time sensitive? The camera is sitting here. In this second, we see this. In the next second, the object is moving. So everything from the camera, you don't know what's going to happen. So if someone say, okay, we want to know how many people in this room, so it's a people coming sensor. And then another one say, okay, no, we don't want to only know that. We want to know how many people in there is female, how many people there is male, and then the age distribution. And then we want to know how many people sit there for 15 minutes, how many people going out after 15 minutes, stuff like that. So we're talking about complete different sensor using the same camera. But camera is not going to do the same thing. It's a matter of computing. That's where machine learning, AI, deep learning coming up. So if we make that simple CPU to do whatever we ask it to do at a different timing, that's pretty much dynamic sensor maybe when we defined it a couple years ago. So we define any camera, any lens, as long as it's connected to the CPU, then it can be a dynamic sensor. So what needs to be seen? That's a question. That's where computer vision is coming out. That's where AI is applied. That's where machine learning, deep learning, all kinds of stuff coming out. That's a dynamic sensor. What is a multi-sensor? What if the camera needs to be doing something at the same time, multiple purposes. They want to know if there's a watch list coming, if there's a VIP walking in the room, if there's someone crossing in, if it's carrying a very, very suspicious bag for security purpose. If the sensor is asked to be multi-function, then it's a multi-sensor. So you have only one camera. You want to do multi-sensor, you want to do dynamic sensor. So what can drive that? Only thing is computer, right? What is based on the computer? CPU, RAM, DRAM. That's it. All right, so why do I have to push this video all the way back to the cloud? If I have a 20,000 camera in the street, how can I push this one all the way back to the cloud? Who's going to pay for it? Who's going to handle the traffic? And then who's going to handle the privacy? Who's going to handle the data security? So all kinds of stuff coming out. Those are issues has not been addressed. People just talk about it because so far people are still crazy about computing. So everybody talking about cloud computing, GPU computing, that kind of stuff. So my question to ourselves, my team, is only very, very simple. Hey, forget about those things. Will not happen because nobody gonna pay for that bandwidth. Nobody gonna put all the data to the back end and then store all the important data stored on the cloud for other people to use. That's impossible. So we have to face the fact. Why don't we use the infrastructures here? We use the existing camera, existing LAN, existing ADSL, existing internet, everything is existing. And then why don't we take the CPU already there to do things we wanted? So that was the challenge we put on the table in the team 10 years ago. Now I'm very, very glad to have announced this done. And then we already demonstrated in CES. Next week, we're going to be in MWC Barcelona. And then we'll be in Intel's booth. And then we're going to demonstrate very small Arnold CPU, we can do things we wanted. And then add a little bit of GPU, we can do a lot. So that's what we're talking about. And McKinsey in 2016, he already see that. He says, all right, there's 10, 11 different vertical sectors. It's going to be very rich money market for the IoT world. But if it's only IoT, it's not going to happen. It has to have a very, very smart video analytic, stuff like that. But that's a trend. But the problem is, even when you have a technology, but the problem is, can the user afford it? So the problem is, if it is cost effective. So cost effective means they can take it today. If you're going to tell them it's going to happen after 5G, if you're going to tell them you have to spend $1 billion, it's not going to happen. Then the AI technology is going to be dead. AI market is going to be dead. It's not going to happen. So those kind of questions is very practical, right? So we're not looking into the science fiction because end user market has no patience for that. End user market is like, I want it today. I want to be useful. I want to pay much less. I want to get only the information I wanted. I don't want to learn deep learning. I don't want to learn AI. I don't want to learn machine learning. I don't care about those buzzwords because those buzzwords are created by you guys. They only care about what you can give me today. And then if you walk in and say, okay, you're going to build up a big data center. You're going to change your whole ADS into fiber. And then you're going to rebuild your camera. And then stuff like that. I said, thank you. Learn something. See you in the future. That's not going to happen, right? So if that's the case, this is what we found out in the last couple of years. So the real scenario in the computing world is from the edge device to edge gateway to server all the way to the cloud. This is what happened and existing today. You have AWS, you have Alibaba, you have Tencent, you have Google, you have Microsoft Azure, 5 big cloud. You have a lot of MSP in each country. There's a data center. And then, but don't forget, you have 1 billion CPU is in the market already. Why not using that instead of you push everything on the data center, on the limited data center, on the limited company? Doesn't make any sense. I own my own infrastructure. I own my cameras, I own my computer. Why can't I just get my data out? And then I have to put all the stuff back there to have someone process for me and then send me those data and I have to pay them. Does it make sense on the business model? I don't think so. So this is exactly what we're looking to. Very end, on the left-hand side, that's the device. Any device has a camera in it, has a lens in it. In the manufacturer, a 1080p lens, $3, cheap. What if I connect a lens into POS, point of sale, in a second, in a vending machine, in a kiosk, and then using Atom CPU they are using today, or i3 CPU. And then I can get a lot of information out of there. I know how many people paying today, their gender, their age, their names, if they are my VIP, if they are my member, stuff like that. And then what if I want to know how many young men come into my vending machine to buy Asahi beer, and how many female buy Asahi another beer. Can I know that? Why not? You just add a lens. You have the CPU already there. You put the AI analytic in there. You got the data already. You don't have to do anything. So that was the idea. We did it before, and then we say, okay, that's our target. If this is not doable, that means AI will not go to the world. So if we set up the milestone, then we have to reach it. And then I'm glad to announce we did it. We have done it. And then in March, we're going to announce in Japan market. We're going to work with vending machine. We're going to work with POS. We're going to work with a lot of people. Whoever are using that, we can do it. So from that device to the next level, that's pretty much IPC level. Industry PC, Taiwan is probably number one. He owns about a 35% of CPU consumption market in IPC, right? People like Inventec, IEI, QNAP, you name it. All those listed companies in Taiwan are pretty much on this market. And then they supply global, the largest IPC market in the world, including the States and Europe, right? Tier 1 IPC, there are only three in Intel. One is Dell, another one is Inventec, the other one is Comtron from Europe. Everybody has about a 35% market share. But added together, Taiwan has a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 IPC vendor, all the way from i5, i7, i9, some of them using Xeon. And then that's amazing. There's a lot of shipment. There's a lot of billion stuff out there already. And then there's a lot of channels are using it. So what they use it for, a couple of things. First of all, you can connect to 32 camera, 64 camera, 64 camera, that's NVR. Easy. And that is what happened today. Second, this in the machine, in the production line machine, so they connected to a lot of production line. Some of it in the medical equipment. So what if we put something in there? And then anything connect to that CPU or that IPC, we can make it doing some fantastic things. We can do in something the customer would want it. So it's not only on the surveillance industry. It will be robot industry, industry 4.0, retail industry, unmanned store, unmanned garden building, almost everything. How about unmanned station? Taiwan has about 340 stations going to be revamped in the next couple of years. Every big station still have a man, but a lot of small stations unmanned. But it is unmanned, how do you make sure everything goes right? No one jump on the platform, and everybody is on the stage. Everybody is safe. We have already done the first smart train station together with the Ministry of Transportation in Taiwan. That's a pioneer. Totally we use about 21 different video analytics, about 20 different sensors mixed together, real time, and then make sure nothing goes wrong. But we don't want to be forced around. For example, a cat or a dog walking somewhere, and then we get alert. No, we would just want exactly a person, something like that. So the user tell us what needs to be done, what they want, what's the scenario, and then they say, we're not going to send this stuff to the cloud. You have to do it on site. So we use a lot of IPC, a lot of smart devices, and then make sure that is happening. Luckily, in the last 12 months, we finished. Now it's on the road for final testing. 6 months later, we're going to announce it's on. Same thing, we did it in corruption. 2.5 years ago, if everybody read the news, it's a global hit news. There are 6 prisoners killed themselves, committed suicide in Kaohsiung prison because they robbed the prison and they captured the captain of that prison. And then end of the day, of course, the SWAT team, right? So either you're gonna surrender or we're gonna kill yourself. So they killed themselves 2.5 years ago. After that, the Prime Minister called me up. He said, Dr. Koh, is there any way we can do to solve this kind of problem, because we're not going to increase a lot of people in the prison. We cannot monitor those prisoners 24 hours. We don't know how much we can do. So we said, hey, why don't we do a smart prison? We use AI. So luckily, we completed a project, pioneer project, 7 prisons from Kaohsiung all the way to Taipei, across Taiwan, and then it's a centralized monitor. Everything is data on age. So we monitor every happy prisoner, whatever he's doing, we know it. If he's fighting, if he's beating up somebody, if he's talking to someone he's not to, if he's walking to the laundry room and then he's not supposed to, stuff like that. All the data will automatically collected in the database. So anything alert come out, level 1, level 2, level 3 alert come out. So the corruption guys knows. So they tested, they're happy, they tried 467 different scenarios, everything well done. So they accepted this project. Now they're replicating into the other 47 different prisons in the next couple of years. So what I'm saying here is anything is doable, but we have to accommodate customers' scenario while we have to accommodate their environment. They're not going to rebuild the prison. They're not going to rebuild everything. You have to use what they have. So that will be the challenge. If you don't overcome that computing concept, if you always bury your own mind, say, oh, AI is on the back end, forget it, it's not going to happen. Then people are going to drop the AI because that's a science fiction. We see that the movie already, but we want to bring that to the life. That's what we do. So what is the problem of that? I mentioned, first of all, the bandwidth. Nobody's going to push that. Data integrity, data security, privacy. Those things you cannot solve by technology. Those things is business, is human smart. They're not going to take it, all right? The big guys or the technology guy always say, oh, AI is big, and then we blow in a lot of stuff, a lot of good story in the future. But end of the day, the customer will want to see it. What can I do? Don't talk to me about those buzzwords. I have a lot of things to worry already. You just give me what I wanted. And then in a very cost-effective way, and I can put it today.